Hello and welcome back to Forza Horizon 5 with, well, the Mexican Festival of Speed is all called. It's not going to be a routine thing, don't worry, it's not like the Mountain Pass. However, I wanted to christen a racetrack, a new racetrack in the game, with a proper challenge. And, well, I can't think of a better challenge than taking some of the newest cars added to Forza and ripping them around the circuit. I'm just doing a little demonstration, if you will, just to give you familiar with the course layout. It is a custom track. It's not the exact layout they use for the traditional race that's found on here, but it has a good selection of medium corners, high-speed corners, hairpins. It's got banked corners. Some of it's on a road. Most of it is on the track, though. Not that it really matters for the Hoonigan here. It's not setting a lap. It's just demonstration purposes, and it's very good at that. It's a good all-arounder. And I like having a racetrack that does not have an oval section. As much as I love what Vulcan Speedway, whatever the hell it was, the Lego one, it was very sort of NASCAR style. Now, it's good fun for that event, but this is much more technical. And this will be our finish line right there. That's the lap. And now let's get to the cars. Starting out with the only C-Class car of the day, the Nissan pickup truck Dakar. This is a proper rally race style vehicle. Not very powerful, but it's very off-road focused. It's very reliable, very rugged, very fuel efficient relative for its class, I guess. You know, it's a big, pickup truck for the off-road rally racing. It's not going to be, a Prius, but it's much more focused on that than outright speed, and it shows. It's heavy. It only has about 350 horsepower, if that. It has a decent amount of torque because it's, that type of engine, but you can see it's not exactly blitzing fast compared to some of the other vehicles. The fastest speed it would ever get around this track is just north of 100 miles an hour, which sounds terrifying in a vehicle like this on that soft suspension from the 1990s, but it didn't mean it was a very easy car to drive. I love this thing. I love the look of it, I love that it's in Forza, and I like how it drives both on the road and off. And it allows you to carry a lot of flat-out corners. I mean, that hairpin is going to be a big braking zone coming up, but for this, it really wasn't. Granted, we're going 70 miles an hour, but that's not the point. The point is, it's just a fun addition. And these are all, I should emphasize, these are all stock vehicles. None of them have been modified in any way. So we're running in reverse PI order, stock cars, stock gearing. I think there was only one car that I had it to because the gear ratios never let it go above 90, so I did tweak that, but other than that, everything is completely stock as we go across the line. Next up is the oldest car on the entire field, and the one with the biggest engine. This has a World War II plane engine. It might be a World War I, don't remember exactly, but it is a good old-fashioned airplane motor, over 20 liters of displacement, the Naiper Railton Speedrunner. This thing is a monster. It also has no front brakes, which makes it very difficult to drive, so you have a cathedral of torque trying to escape through very thin cross-ply tires, and you have no front brakes, literally. I don't even think it has the discs. It has rear brakes, thank God, but the people that drove this thing back in the day were madmen. Absolutely. Now, it's not that much higher than the Nissan. I mean, it is almost 40 PI points higher, but it doesn't look it. Primarily because the Nissan had grip. It just didn't have acceleration. This has acceleration if you can put your foot down without wheel spin, as you see there. And it has literally nothing else. No handling, no brakes, no suspension tuning. It is meant to go in a straight line very quickly, and that is what it does in mass. It is the fastest car here right now anyway, for a while, hitting over 110 miles an hour down this straightaway. It's a very impressive top speed for the era, but as you can see, it's already behind the Nissan despite being 40 PI points higher, which means we are just now crossing the line. Up next, we go from a classic speedrunner to a classic Le Mans car. the most expensive car in the world, the Ferrari 250 GTO, $70 million worth of Italian artwork. It's literally a work of art by the Italian government, as they have decreed. But they are not treating it like a work of art. No, no, this thing is being driven hard. It's very similar cross-ply tires, more advanced than the Naiper, just as the years progressed, but it's not exactly sophisticated. What it is a V12 lightweight Le Mans car, which means it is no slouch, even with the 1962 technology it has at its disposal, and it is already flying faster than the Naiper. Sure, it's still in the same class, it's in B class, but it has brakes, it has acceleration, it's lighter, it's better around the corners, and you don't think you're gonna die, relative speaking, when you drive it. It's a very good car, and it sounds great too. It's, all in all, just a leg up on the Naiper, which is why it is light years ahead of both that and the Nissan. As you can see, it looks like my times, we'll show them at the end, a full times list, but it looks like it's going to be blitzing that Nissan by a mile, and we are already across the line. This is our most modern production car we have for today. The Subaru WRX STI S209, the first S-branded WRX to be released outside of Japan. It's a big deal, and it is our last B-class car, and it is a road car. Everything else has been a race car so far, whether it be Dakar, Speedway, or Le Mans. They've all been racetrack only. This is a road car, and we'll be seeing quite a few of those as we go on, but in the meantime, the Subaru is bloody nice to drive, all-wheel drive, track-focused. You can tell by the aerodynamics, it is very track-focused. A bit pricey, quite a bit pricey, but in Forza that doesn't really matter. And I love this thing. The customization is great, although it is stock in this guise. I think it looks great, and I really like how it handles. It's a very clean car, and despite being all-wheel drive, it does not get a huge amount of understeer either. And you see it's not great, grippy, not quite super light, and all-wheel drive will just naturally cause some understeer, but it is nowhere near as bad as, say, an Audi or something like that. I think they did a great job. It runs a little bit wide, but does not hit the wall on this one, and he is... oh, it's very close. I don't know if it's going to be faster. It's pretty much neck-and-neck between this and the Ferrari in the final corner. Carries very good speed. You can see it leaning a little bit, but we have one more straight. We are across the line. This is definitely smaller than the Subaru. This is the Sierra RX3. It's a cross cart, basically. It's mental. It has almost 200 horsepower. It's rear-wheel drive. It's designed for the stadiums, the dirt stadium tracks. And it weighs 945 pounds. It is the lightest car here by half. Half. That is an insane power-to-weight ratio. It's one of the best power-to-weight ratios here. It's only rivals of the hypercars that'll be coming up. And even then, it's actually better than one of the most powerful cars we have on the grid today. That being said, this is a terrifying car to drive. It's small, lightweight, mid-engine, short wheelbase. You can see the danger there, this absolute drift machine, and it is only if you can stop it from spinning out. This thing is very easy to spin. During practice, I must have spun it at least 5 or 6 times. It's a terrifying car to drive. I don't recommend doing it, unless you want a real challenge and some anxiety. It's a mental machine. I can't get over how fast it is for A-class, and how light it is, and just everything about it is insane, and it is across the line. Ken Block can't miss a party like this. He never has. He showed up in the Hoonigan and the Hoonigan truck last time, and now he is in his second generation Sierra Kiosk, Escort Kiosk, whatever. Same thing underneath. It's a long story. I have a YouTube video about it. But anyway, this car. His original burned to the ground in a fire, so he got a new one, and it's really good. It's more a proper rally car than a Gymkhana vehicle like the last one was. So it only has about 400 horsepower, but it's very light, it's very grippy, and it's all-wheel drive. It's a proper sports car, rally car. It's a very good handling machine. And sure, I'm not so sold on the looks relative to the actual Escort Chiase, but, you know, it doesn't look terrible, and it is quick. It's near the top of A-Class, 783, and sure, it is only a U.S. National Rally Championship car, but I think it'll show some of these cars a pretty good shot. Of course, interestingly, just looking at the geography, if you will, it's only slightly faster than the cross car, at least it appears to. We'll have to see what the times are at the end, but that's mega speed to the final corner, that grip working well, and we're across the line. This is our second road car, and it is a Grand Touring car, which is why McLaren called it the McLaren Grand Touring car, the McLaren GT. This is an interesting one. It's brand new to Forza. It's more of a comfort vehicle, but that does not mean it's slow. No, this is still at the end of the day a McLaren, and that means it's very planted, very fast. The good old-fashioned twin-turbo V8 they've been using since, God, the 12C, probably. I really like this car. I like how it looks. It looks a little Corvette-ish to me, but that might be where Corvette got their inspiration from. Either way, I think it looks great. It handles pretty well. This is on road tires, if you remember. I certainly expect it to be faster than the Subaru. If not, there's a problem, because this is only our second road car. But it does not feel necessarily like a road car. There's obviously some hints. You can see the tires are not necessarily up to the job over 600 horsepower in this vehicle, going through the rear wheels on road tires, so it can be a little bit challenging when you're driving these race cars. You know, the feel can be off when you're driving a whole bunch of race cars and then you get into a GT, but all in all, it is pretty damn quick, especially on that final corner. You see a little bit of understeer, but it doesn't matter because of the McLaren. It is across the line. Now, the Formula Drifters are here, and this is actually technically not a Formula Drift car competitor. This is the Deberti design Toyota Tundra TRD. It's a mental-looking truck, if you can even call it a truck anymore, but it's still in a proper drift car, and he is using every inch of that road, and then a little bit more, to get the maximum size. You can tell he's not going for the fastest lap. This is an S1 class car now. He is just having fun, and this is a pretty darn good choice for it. 900 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, drift, air quotes, truck. It's a beast. If you want to take it sensibly, you very much can, but when you have this vehicle, why would you take it sensibly? I have no idea. He's taking actually a little bit cautiously here on there. I guess it makes sense, given that long hair, that long corner, I should say. It is a bit nasty. A little bit on the dirt, but he's sliding anyway, so it's like it matters. And then you actually use a little bit of that horsepower down the sort of the straightaway. This is one of the second fastest spots. Slide around there, nicely done. Massive slide, huge tires, so really showing off the new graphics of Horizon 5 with the tire smoke on that one. He's only got one more corner to go. What will he do? He is going to absolutely chuck it. Yep. Lovely sideways action, almost hits the wall, not quite, and then it's just a run to the line. We're going to try and keep this one a little bit more sensible this time. I say that. This is a 600 horsepower all-wheel drive Volkswagen Beetle. I'm not sure how sensible you can get. The Andretti Volkswagen Beetle Rallycross car is immense. They are the fastest accelerating cars in the world, 0 to 61.8 seconds. There's a reason it's halfway through S1 class, despite being on rally-style tires. They are the Michelin tires, though, so that means it's going to be super grippy. Of course, when you're in a rallycross car, sliding is actually faster, just because of the gear ratios. So you're going to see a little bit of sideways action, just enough to get that rear end turned. That is how you get speed in these vehicles, certainly on the dirt tracks, so they're set up for that. Which means you don't actually lose any time. It's very nice. But still trying to take it as clean as possible and use that acceleration faster than the Formula 1 car to 60. It's an immense machine. Question is, though, will it be enough to break that 1 minute barrier? That is going to be the barrier. We're getting close to her, within 3 seconds based on my unofficial watch. We got one more corner to go. He's a little bit sideways just to get that back end turn, and we are across the line. If the Rallycross Beetle couldn't break the 1 minute barrier, the Lamborghini Diablo GTR might just be able to do it. 600 horsepower again, but it's rear-wheel drive. But unlike the Beetle, it's a lot lighter, a lot more aero, and critically, racing tires. This thing is on slicks. It's a beast. It weighs less than 2,400 pounds, and it's a V12 Lamborghini, so it sounds great, it looks great, and it's incredibly fast. It was for Lamborghini's Super Trofeo Racing Series. A little bit of oversteer. That's, 600 horsepower going to the rear wheels. That's what will happen. It's a monster, this machine. And it is making swift progress. Look at the smoothness through there. Running a little bit on the dirt, does not get any time loss. It keeps it just 2 wheels on the track in order to maintain that grip level. It should be liking that high-speed corner with all that downforce from the massive rear wing. And indeed, he's carrying a lot of speed, certainly a lot more than anything that's come before. Will it be enough? I don't know. We're going to wait till the times. It's going to be very close, so one more corner to go, flat out through there, near enough, and we are across the line. It's the battle of the 1 MiG Racing Series from the 90s, because this is the Jag XJR15 from Jaguar Sport TWR. This thing is a road-legal Le Mans car, the first ever carbon fiber vehicle, not the McLaren F1, this thing. It was designed for a 1 MiG support series for Formula 1. It had very little success, unfortunately, and it never really achieved the success that its XJ220 counterpart would later get. But it did show that Jag knew a thing or two about designing cars, even though if they designed with TWR, but that's not the point. The point is, this was a very, very good vehicle, and it is ridiculously quick. Racing slicks again, 6-speed manual gearbox, sub 2,500 pound curb weight, V12 engine. This and the Diablo are yin and yang. Good versus evil. Italians versus the Brits. World War II, round 2. Apparently. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just a stupid video game. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too far into it. Either way, one more corner to go. Ridiculously fast speed from those racing slicks, and the Jag is across the line. I guess you would technically call this a 1 MiG Racing Series, because this is the Vuhl 05RR from Mexico itself. This is used in the International Race of Champions, a 1v1 knockout tournament for some of the best drivers in the world from all different motorsport disciplines. And this is a pretty good car for him, not gonna lie. Less than 400 horsepower, but it weighs less than 1,600 pounds. Rear-wheel drive, racing slicks again, super grippy Michelin tires. It still can get oversteer. It is a track car after all. It is rear-wheel drive, very light. That does tend to happen on some of these things. They can get quite twitchy. I will say this is one of the better handling in terms of twitchiness when it comes to the track cars. Better than the Ariel Atom and the KHMR 500, that is for sure. But it is flying. It is all grip, no top speed, but in this track it is much more focused on grip than top speed. There's only really a few places to truly stretch your legs, and this is one of them. The straightaway here over the bridge is going to be flying. We got one more corner left to go. It's flat out near enough, just a little lift to avoid splattering onto that wall, but the Vuhl is across the line. This is about as far away from the Vuhl as you can possibly imagine. The Forsberg Racing Toyota Camry NASCAR. Now, why is this the Forsberg Racing? Because he bought a genuine Toyota NASCAR and then blew up the NASCAR engine, so he did the only logical thing and swapped a 900 horsepower 2JZ from a Toyota Supra into it. Needless to say, it's a unique car, and I like that there is a proper NASCAR, at least in chassis and suspension setup, in Forza. We have not had one of these ever. We've had touring cars, we've had GT cars, but never an actual NASCAR. A little bit of a lockup heading in there. Nope, that's alright, that's not a lockup, that is wheel spin. A lot of wheel spin. 900 horsepower rear-wheel drive, not the most sophisticated vehicle on the planet. That will do it. That will definitely do it. He's making very good progress, though. Very good, actually. Not as good as the Vuhl, just based on geography, but no slouch. Looks like they're going to have to shove about those NASCARs being unable to turn once and for all. One more corner to go, topping across the grass, and Forsberg is across the line. This is our next road car, despite appearances. No, this is the Porsche 911 GT2 RS with the Duke's Dynamic body kit. So it's a Nürburgring lap record holder with a wide body kit, giving it bigger tires and an even bigger wing. Which is what you need, really. I mean, I think it actually looks quite nice. Body kits on Porsches never look very good. Admittedly, I don't know what's going on with the smiley face on the hood. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. It's even got the nostrils. But regardless, at the end of the day, this is just a slightly wider 911 GT2 RS, which is a 700 horsepower 911, also known as insanely good to drive. It's a monster. It's not the fastest accelerating, just based on rear-wheel drive and the fact it's a road car, so it's got road tires, road suspension, and, you know, road amenities. Despite being the RS, it is still, you know, has to meet crash safety and turn signals and whatnot. So it is compromised in that regard, but it does not feel compromised. It is a bloody good to drive car. And we only got a little bit more to go, and we are across the line. If the Duke's Dynamic 911 was a normal road car with a body kit on it, this is a race car with a road car body kit on that. This is the Ford Transit Supervan 3, a Formula One V8 powered van. It's actually a Formula One V8 mounted in the middle of a Group C Le Mans chassis with a fiberglass van body thrown on top of it. They made this in anniversary of the latest Transit at that time in the early 90s. I don't know why they stopped building Supervans. They're brilliant machines, and they're very grippy and very fast. Sure, they look like a van, and they're technically a van, but they do not go like a van. No, 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 no. These things could hit 200 miles an hour back in the day, and even in the tuned state we have here, only 650 horsepower rear-wheel drive, 11,000 RPM run this thing is still a force to be reckoned with. Look at the speed here on the corners, running very close to the wall, getting every ounce of grip out of the van. How many vehicles will get beaten by this? Quite a lot. And they're definitely not going to tell their families that they just got beaten by a transit van-ish. This used to be a road car, but it is not anymore. This is a BMW E46 M3 with a proper time attack, hill climb, whatever you want to call it, body kit. Look at the rear wing upon the rear wing, and look at the snow plow and the diffuser the size of a building. It's got 900 plus horsepower from the stock engine, so it is a straight 6. Rear wheel drive, but it's got slick racing tires. This, sure, it's got road car chassis at the end of the day, but it is about as far away from that road car as you can possibly imagine. I love this thing. The fact that you can have the wing on the diffuser on the splitter is a joy to have in this game. We've had a few crazy body kits, but this brings it to a whole new level. And it's fast. It is really fast. It's an S2 class. This is our second S2 class car after the Supervan. It is only 3 PI points higher than the van, but God, is it an incredible machine, and it's pretty damn quick. This is a road car underpinnings at the end of the day with a stock engine. It could technically go faster if it had a maxed out, you know, swapped engine, but instead, all it can do is cross the line. We are sticking with the German road cars, only this one is genuinely a German road car. The Mercedes-AMG Project One. I know it's just called the One now, that's just a really weird name, okay? This is the cover car. It's weird in the fact that it only has 877 horsepower and 7 gears instead of the real car's 1,000 plus horsepower and 8 gears, but I guess things change between the prototype, what I would assume this is, and the actual production car. But either way, we all know the main feature of this car is an honest-to-God road-legal Formula 1 engine. They took a 2015 Mercedes-AMG F1 car engine and basically retuned it for the road. It needs to be serviced every 30,000 miles, but it means with the all-wheel drive and the incredible aerodynamics, it is a weapon on the track. Again, this is road tires. These are road tires it is on, and it's doing this much speed. That's insane. I could put this on slicks if I wanted to be more competitive, but I think it would just demolish everything because it's already across the line. That's ridiculous. I can't say the same about this. This is most definitely not a road car. The Vulcan AMR Pro from Aston Martin. Not a race car, not a road car, just the best car Aston Martin could make. V12, massive displacement, rear-wheel drive, no weight, crazy aerodynamics. I love the concept of this car, and I love the look of it, I love the sound of it. It's a monster. It earns the Vulcan name well and truly, just like the bomber that would shatter your eardrums. And yes, you know, 900 horsepower near enough to the rear wheels will spin them up all day long, as shown in those hairpins. That's why I included those hairpins, just to trip up some of the rear-wheel drive cars and make it a little more unfair for some of them, shall we say. Try and get a little more balance. Still some oversteer. This thing is a killer, apparently. It just wants to drift everywhere. It wants to be a Deberti designed pickup truck for all we care, I guess. But it is fast around these corners. Question is, though, will it be fastest on the board? Actually, is it going to be faster than the AMG? That's the question. We got one more quarter to go, almost hitting the wall, but not quite, and we are across the line. Our penultimate car is a road car. The highest PI car you can buy in this game from the auto show is the 2,000 horsepower all-electric Lotus Evija. I think that's how you pronounce the Ouija, but the Evija here, all-wheel drive, ridiculously fast. It does weigh a lot because of the battery pack. However, it's also a Lotus, so it handles surprisingly well. And that doesn't really matter when even on that short straightaway, which is barely 100 meters long, you can get to 80 plus miles an hour on it. When you have that much speed, that every single acceleration zone is freeway speeds, it doesn't matter how bad you are around the corners, because look at that acceleration. That is a one-gear wonder. That's nearly 200 miles an hour through there. That's 190. Getting on the brakes, that's in control, and it's even faster down here. Look at that. That's 190, 195, 196 miles an hour through the corner. Big brakes, though, trying to get under control without crashing. Almost hits the wall anyway before crossing the line. That was awfully quick for a road car. However, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because the fastest car is the X-Class car, in terms of PI anyway. And look at the speed. That's just stupid. It may look like an X5M Forza edition, but what it actually is a time machine. Because every single straightaway is instantaneous. Every single corner is instantaneous. 1,900 horsepower, sub 3,000 pounds, super massive, grippy Michelin tires, crazy aerodynamics. This is a silhouette car in every single meaning of the word. It is not an X5 in any way. And it may be looking like it gets some oversteer, but no. It's just fast. It's just fast. The Evija did 195 miles an hour. This did 193. And yet, it was lighter by almost half a ton. And it's better handling. So, as you can tell by the positioning, it just obliterated the entire event. Like they were in neutral. Because this BMW SUV won our showdown with a, hang on, 45.723. For some context, the next closest car, the Evija, did a 53.4. Think about that. It was 8 seconds faster than an S2 Class 994 2,000 horsepower hypercar. 8 seconds is decades of performance improvements in the history of the automobile. In fact, the next closest car is the AMG Project One, and it's 10 seconds faster than it. Yes, the Project One and the Evija both beat the Aston Martin, they beat the Supervan, they beat the NASCAR, they beat everything, despite being on road tires. I guess all-wheel drive and crazy handling and horsepower can do wonders. To be honest, though, I'm very impressed with some of these vehicles, especially the Camry NASCAR. NASCARs are often overlooked and scorned at, but they not only broke the sub-1 minute barrier of the 59.5, it was 0.3 of a second faster than the Jaguar XJR15, F1 Support Series car, which was in turn fractionally faster than the Diablo GTR, just unable to break that 1 minute barrier, the 1.001. Very close, but sadly not quite close enough. This was a very competitive field, even though it had quite a large spread. I mean, if you exclude the 45-second SUV, our spread is 53 seconds for the Evija, and 132 for the Railton. Yeah, taking a historic speedrunning car with no brakes and no handling but a massive plane engine means it's very slow. In fact, it was slower than the Nissan by, 8 seconds. Yeah. And just to try and wrap your head around the X5 Forza Edition, it was almost a minute faster than the Railton. Around a 1 minute 30 lap. I can't believe it either. It's insane. The Sierra does very good getting into the top 15 despite being a terrifying death machine. Although it does lose out to the Volkswagen Beetle, and it loses out to the Diablo GTR, as I mentioned earlier, the Hoonigan Escort just beating it by 2 seconds. I say only just. That's an incredible time, but it is only one position up. Yeah. The vehicle, I guess, in terms of highest PI for lowest rank is definitely the Toyota Tundra from Deberti Design. Obviously, if he did slide around like a maniac, he would probably shave off, 5 seconds, and not be 3 seconds slower than a Ferrari from 1962, but he had fun, and that's all that matters. So yes, the moral of the story, this track is brilliant, I love it. I love the new cars that were added to Horizon 5, and the X5M is the most OP, insane car I have ever seen in the history of Forza. Eat your heart out, Bone Shaker. But that will be it for this episode of Forza Horizon 5. I'll be back with more